This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 51 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. Joining us now here in the Mission Director Center is Joy Amasa. She is the NASA Veggie Science Team Lead from the Kennedy Space Center. And Joy, would like to welcome you here to the program to tell us what is it that's going up on Dragon this time as far as Veggie is concerned.
Thank you, George, and thanks for inviting me. So for this flight, we actually have a small Chinese cabbage that's going on to the Veggie flight. This is one crop that was tested here at Kennedy Space Center. We looked through a variety of different types of crops, and we grew them. And we saw how well they grew, and we also tested them for nutrition. And then we actually grew some more, sent them to Johnson Space Center, and tested them for taste testing. So we had actual sensory evaluation done at Johnson Space Center, and this was the crop that was the most highly rated. So this is a very small version of the plant. They'll be a lot bigger when they're growing, when they're ready to harvest.
And are there any other veggie seeds going up, or is this particular seed the one that they're going to focus on?
So we have this crop as well as a crop that we've grown previously, which is our red romaine lettuce.
Lettuce, okay.
And that was what was grown in the very first flight of Veggie on Space Station.
And have we any idea yet when the astronauts will actually begin to try some of these on orbit and
Right. We're hoping for very soon. We've been, we got the lettuce back from Space Station that they grew originally, and it was pretty clean. We found typical station microorganisms on it. So nothing surprising, nothing unexpected, and nothing that we feel is dangerous. So now we've been working with the flight medical groups at Johnson Space Center and, explaining our results to them. And then the next step is to get all the documentation in line for approvals for the crew to eat the produce. And so that's really where we're at. No one sees any red flags. It's just figuring out what are the right steps to take. But we hope that by the time the crew actually grow this lettuce and cabbage, they'll be able to eat it.
Now, do we know when in the mission they'll actually take the seed pillows and start growing this particular crop of seeds?
We're not exactly sure. These are what are called reserve crew time. So they're when the crew has an opportunity, they'll be able to grow these. And so it'll also be when the crew is interested. But we hope that they will be. From what we've heard, they really enjoyed growing the plants when they did it last time, and other astronauts seem quite in favor of growing the plants. So here you can see the preparation that we did before launch. We did a lot of testing here on the ground at Kennedy, and we had to carefully test all of the different types of plants before they go up to the International Space Station. And these are the plant pillows from the very first test. This was red romaine lettuce, and so this was the first test. We plant 2 seeds in each pillow. And then after about a week, the astronaut taking care of them thins down to 1 seed in each pillow, because we overplant to make sure that the plants germinate well and grow uniformly. This was Commander Steve Swanson, who was actually the caretaker of the plants on the last flight. And this is when he's just initiating the experiment. So he has to add water to the different plant pillows after he puts them in. This is actually the installation process. He needs to just make sure there's no loose particles of media there, or anything that might come out and float away. And then this was at the harvest, and it was actually really interesting because you see there's a lot of people gathered around for that harvest. So I think it was a big occasion on Space Station. He grew the red romaine lettuce for 33 days, and that's one of the plants. Everybody was really interested. There's some cosmonauts out and some astronauts out taking photos and looking, and so it was kind of a special occasion on station.
Well, when do you expect you might get some of the plants that we're sending up this time? When might they be coming back You know what flight that would be?
We don't actually know. It'll really depend on when they have time to grow them. We hope that they'll be able to grow the next set of plant pillows when they get 3 more crew members up there. So in mid-July, we hope that they'll have more crew time available and be able to start them. And so in that case, it would probably be on the next SpaceX return flight, CRS-8.
Well, Joy, thank you very much.
Thank
Joy
you.
Massa, our NASA Veggie Science Team lead here at the Kennedy Space Center.
Thanks.
And we're now at T-minus 46 minutes, 4 seconds, and counting. This is Falcon Launch Control. This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 42 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. Our launch director for this flight for SpaceX is Ricky Lim, and our SpaceX launch conductor that we're hearing frequently on Channel 1 is Brian Childers. In about 2 minutes, we will hear the commands to begin placing the Falcon 9 rocket in the final configuration for launch. This time we're not working any issues here at the Launch Control Center, which is located on Cape Canaveral Air Force Station near Port Canaveral. And we see images here of our SpaceX launch team conducting the countdown here this morning. This is the Mission Control Center at SpaceX's Hawthorne facility, their Mission Control in Hawthorne, California, where there will be control of the flight after liftoff and through the docking together with Johnson Space Center in Houston for docking with the International Space Station on Tuesday. We're now at T-minus 41 minutes, 5 seconds, and counting. All things going well in the countdown, on target for a 10:21 a.m. liftoff this morning. This is Falcon Launch Control. This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 35 minutes, 28 seconds and counting. Falcon 9, as we see it on the pad, is a two-stage rocket fully designed and built by SpaceX. Falcon 9 is named for the Millennium Falcon in the Star Wars movie. The number 9 refers to the 9 Merlin engines that power the Falcon 9's first stage. The Falcon 9 is designed to carry commercial and government satellites, as well as the SpaceX Dragon cargo module with supplies and eventually up to 4 astronauts to the International Space Station. On the Dragon module's manifest, in the pressurized portion of the cargo module for this mission today, are 4,300 pounds of payload, including research experiments, experiment freezers, food, crew provisions, and exercise equipment. And going up in the unpressurized section is the first of 2 international docking adapters to create a docking port for future commercial crew vehicles. And also aboard are 30 student experiments in plant seeds to be used as part of growing more efficient different vegetables for the Veggie experiment, which we just heard described to us by Joy Massa, our Veggie scientist. This current version of the Falcon 9 with the Dragon spacecraft is 208 feet in length and 12 feet in diameter and weighs by itself 735,000 pounds. The rocket is held down on the pad and not released for flight until all 9 engines and the launch vehicle systems are confirmed to be up and burning properly. After liftoff, the first stage will burn for 3 minutes before separating from the rest of the rocket, and then a single Merlin engine on the second stage will burn for 5 3/4 minutes before the Dragon cuts off 9 minutes into the flight and separates from the Falcon 9 10 minutes after launch. After the liftoff, mission control for the Falcon 9 and the Dragon spacecraft, as we mentioned, will be from the SpaceX Mission Control Center in Hawthorne, California. Dragon will have a link with a series of ground tracking stations around the world, as also through NASA's tracking and data relay satellite system. Weather on this countdown so far continues to be virtually perfect. And we're continuing not to work any issues. We're still on target for 10:21 a.m. liftoff this morning. At T-minus 32 minutes, 45 seconds and counting, this is Falcon Launch Control. This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 28 minutes and counting. Most of our communications channels have been relatively quiet. The team has been busy configuring the vehicle, putting it in its configuration for launch, and then when we reach T-minus 20 minutes, they'll begin the final launch countdown preparations, but configuring the vehicle has been underway since about T-minus 40 minutes, and that's been going very smoothly and routinely. We'll get the final poll of the launch team at T-minus 13 minutes of 14 console positions in the SpaceX Launch Control Center. Not working any other issues. Looking offshore, range is clear, no issues there. Weather is green, and it appears that we're going to have a very spectacular morning for a launch today. And there are many people lining the coastline this morning for the chance to see a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launching to the International Space Station on a relatively clear, cloud-free day. On a Sunday morning when everyone has an opportunity to go to the coastline and watch a launch that at this point is going completely smoothly for liftoff at 10:21 Eastern Time. At T-minus 26 minutes 15 seconds and counting, this is Falcon Launch Control.
OSM, this is LC on the countdown net.
OSM.
Verify the flight hazard area roadblocks are established.
They are established.
This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 18 minutes, 52 seconds and counting. All of the various console positions at the Launch Control Center have been coming up and reporting their status for going into terminal count to the chief engineer. And at this point, everything is still proceeding.
All the team and
Proceeding go.
everybody's good to go into terminal count. I'm reading on Dragon at this point in time, but I'm going to go ahead and move the warnings to terminal count.
Copy.
There you go.
So as you heard, all of the vehicle positions are reporting in to the chief and engineer that will go for the terminal count. Still waiting on Dragon, but our next major poll will come at T-minus 13 minutes. About 10 minutes after launch, Dragon reaches its preliminary orbit, and it then deploys its solar arrays and begins a carefully choreographed series of thruster firings to reach the space station. After a 2-day trip, NASA astronaut Scott Kelly and just report that all teams are good to go, so we're continuing to press on toward that terminal countdown poll at T-minus 13 minutes. Everybody reporting in so far that their systems are go. After the 2-day trip up to the International Space Station, NASA astronaut Scott Kelly and cosmonaut Gennady Padalka will use the station's 57-foot robotic arm to reach out and capture the Dragon spacecraft as they operate it from the station's cupola. Ground commands will be sent from Houston to the station's arm to rotate Dragon around and install it on the bottom side of the station's Harmony module for its 5-week stay at the International Space Station. By the next day, the crew will pressurize the vestibule between the station and Dragon and will open the hatch that leads to the forward bulkhead of the Dragon. Then, over the next several weeks, the crew will unload the spacecraft and reload it with cargo for its return to Earth. Departure from the ISS will occur on Wednesday, August 5th. After a 7 to 10 minute deorbit burn, it will then take about 30 minutes to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and splash down on its 3 main parachutes in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Southern California, which right now is expected to occur at 6:28 p.m. Pacific time. The capsule now also has a nighttime recovery capability if it's needed, including a GPS locating beacon and high-intensity strobe lights for optimal spotting, while the recovery ship itself also will have night vision IR camera gear. So the Dragon capsule continues to gain flexibility as we go
All
further.
personnel stand by for the final poll at T-minus 13 minutes.
Just confirmation that we will have the final poll at T-minus 13 minutes, so everything is on schedule. We're at T-minus 14 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. This is Dragon Launch Control. This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 13 minutes, 32 seconds and counting. Standing by now for our final polls for the countdown this morning, coming up in about the next half minute.
All stations verify, ready for launch. FTS.
FTS go.
Prop.
Prop go.
AVI.
AVI go.
GNC.
GNC go.
Ground.
Ground is go.
VC.
VC go.
GC.
GC go.
RC.
RC go.
OSM.
OSM go.
ROC.
Rock go.
CE.
Go.
MD.
MD is go.
LD, verify go to initiate terminal count.
LD is go to initiate terminal count. Proceeding with terminal count and countdown master.
VC and DC, start the terminal count auto sequences set to start at T-minus 10 minutes.
Terminal count is set to run.
DC, countdown net.
DC on countdown.
Start the terminal count auto sequence set to start at T-minus 10 minutes.
Dragon terminal count has started.
If a hold is called from this point forward, the terminal count auto sequence will be aborted. Indicate an abort or hold condition by saying hold, hold, hold on the primary countdown net. In this event, the VC will immediately abort the auto sequence. The VC shall not abort the auto sequence after T-minus 10 seconds, and operators shall not call a hold after T-minus 10 seconds. If a hold is called, all operators proceed to the terminal count abort steps in section 10.64.
.30 seconds from starting the automatic countdown sequence.
Attention all personnel, stand by to pick up the count. T-minus 10 minutes and counting on my mark. Three, two, one, mark. VC verified auto sequence has started.
Terminal count auto sequence has started.
GCVC standby on FireX.
Standing by. Standing by.
LD start the tracking camera video recorders.
Started.
OSM set launch enable to flight.
Flight.
Stage 1 engines chilling in. Spin and T-tip final setups.
T-minus 9 minutes.
Dragon going to internal power in less than a minute. T-minus 8 minutes, 30 seconds.
T-minus 8 minutes.
Nitrogen ACS closeout. Stage 2 FTV motions. Stage 1 heaters closing out.
T-minus 7 minutes.
This is Falcon Launch Control, T-minus 6 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. The terminal countdown is being beamed live to the International Space Station.
Vehicle switching to internal power. TVC bleed stage 2 has started.
T-minus 6 minutes.
Tanks pressing for strong back retract. RP1 bleed stage 2 starting.
Strongback should retract from the vehicle about 4 minutes and 20 seconds before liftoff.
RP1 bleed stage 1. We have cradle movement.
T-minus 5 minutes.
Cradle's fully opened. TVC motions on stage 2. Strong back motion.
T-minus 4 minutes.
Stage 2 TVC motions complete. Tanks venting post strong back retract. Pogo accumulator vent.
FTS is on internal power. FTS is armed.
GNC, verify good stage 2 TVC motion.
GNC confirms good stage 2 TVC motion. Lock load closing out. MVAC igniter purge has started.
Stromback fully retracted and pinned.
Stage 1 throttle valve setups. Stage 2 helium fill closeout.
LD, verify go for launch.
This is the LD on countdown 1. SpaceX, Falcon 9, and Dragon are go for launch.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight. Vehicles in self-align. TVC final setup. Stage 2 BTV check complete.
Range green.
Stage 1 helium fill closing out. Spin and stage step ISOs closed. Vehicles in manual. Vehicles in auto idle.
BC and DC, verify F9 and Dragon are in startup.
F9 is in startup.
Dragon is in startup.
And
Stage 2 tanks pressing for flight. Flight computer has control of the vehicle.
means we're go for terminal count.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Pad water system armed.
T-minus 20. T-minus 15. T-minus 10. 8. 7.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition sequence start and liftoff of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, adding to the International Space Station access for future American rockets. And Falcon has cleared the tower.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Vehicles programming downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is active.
Power telemetry nominal.
Altitude, speed 290 meters per second, downrange distance 1.1 kilometers. Vehicle supersonic.
Recovery drone ship has AOS.
Vehicles reach maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Stage 1 propulsion is still nominal.
Power and telemetry remain nominal.
MVAC chill has begun.
T plus 2 minutes. Altitude 32 kilometers. Speed 1 kilometer per second. Downrange distance 13 kilometers.
Data coming back shows vehicle on course, on track. And we appear to have had a launch vehicle failure. Standing by for some information. And the range confirmed that we have had a non-nominal flight.
Rack, this is the Rock and CDNet.
And the range has confirmed the vehicle has broken up. It's not clear if the vehicle breakup occurred prior or after the range took their necessary precautionary action. SpaceX is putting together their anomaly team to put together what we do know at this point. It's not clear yet from the data what happened. They are beginning to play back video to look and see if there are any indications in the video what may have happened. It'll be a combination of looking at the video that they have for indications prior to failure, whether there are any indicators there, as well as looking at the vehicle data. But at this point, it's not clear to the launch team exactly what happened. Meanwhile, the launch pad is being secured. This is Falcon Launch Control. And we've had confirmation from the range of vehicle failure. It's still now we're trying to correlate the timelines between the last data that we got from the vehicle, which was at 2 minutes and 19 seconds, and correlate that with whatever the range safety officer was required to do with his actions as far as the flight termination system. So that's still part of the data that's being pieced together, as well as all of the video is being looked at and the telemetry data. So it's still, at this point, it's not clear exactly what happened and even exactly at what point the vehicle failed. This is Falcon Launch Control. We should have aircraft in the area in about another 6 minutes or so. Aircraft will be permitted into the location where the debris is believed to have impacted the Atlantic Ocean downrange.